The movie starts with a police car pulls up outside the Sawyer house, stopping behind another vehicle. Inside sit the Carson family, cousins, an aunt, and an uncle to the Sawyers. In a panic, they rush inside, barricading the doors and arming themselves alongside the Sawyers. Sheriff Hooper arrives, his police car kicking up dust. Stepping out, he calls to the house, demanding they hand over Jed, Leatherface. He references Sally's testimony. A man with a chainsaw slaughtered all of her friends. Drayton Sawyer protests, insisting they were only protecting their own. Hooper remains firm, urging Drayton to surrender the boy to prevent further bloodshed. Reluctantly, Drayton turns to Jed, bracing himself to send him out. But before he can, chaos erupts. A lynch mob led by Mayor Bert Hartman storms the property. They have only one goal: wipe out the entire family. Before the Sawyers can surrender, the mob launches their assault, setting the house ablaze and firing indiscriminately. Sheriff Hooper's attempts to intervene are futile. One by one, the Sawyers fall. Amid the carnage, Loretta Sawyer clutches a baby, shielding it with her own body. A stray bullet tears through her shoulder, then pierces the infant. Night falls. The house, now a smoldering ruin, hides the horrors within. From the ashes, Gavin Miller stumbles upon Loretta, barely clinging to life. Seeing her feeble grasp on the infant, he pries the child from her arms, then brutally kills her with a swift kick to the face. He races to his wife, Arlene, presenting the stolen baby. They decide to raise her as their own. Her new name? Heather. Now an adult, Heather Miller works at a grocery store meat counter. Her friend Nikki bursts in, bubbling with excitement over their upcoming road trip to New Orleans with Heather's boyfriend, Ryan, and his buddy Kenny. Heather returns home to her dimly lit apartment, where Ryan is working a punching bag. Her artwork, dark, twisted pieces crafted from bones and heavy black paint, covers the walls. The stress of the trip fades as Ryan pulls her into an intimate moment, but just as things heat up, a knock at the door interrupts them. Ryan answers, handing Heather an unexpected letter. A will. Her grandmother has passed, leaving her an estate. Confused, Heather confronts her adoptive parents, who reveal the shocking truth. She was adopted. Worse, they warn her to stay away from Texas. Devastated and furious, she storms out. Determined to uncover her past, Heather decides to visit the inherited property. Ryan, ever the supportive boyfriend, agrees without hesitation. When Nikki and Kenny hear the news, they eagerly invite themselves along. On their way, they stop at a gas station where, in the pouring rain, they accidentally hit a drifter with their van. The man, introducing himself as Daryl, shakes off the injury. In exchange for a ride to Texas, he offers gas money. Shrugging off their initial hesitation, they let him tag along. Upon arrival at the estate, an older man, Farnsworth, greets them at the gate. Handing Heather a keychain, one key particularly large, he solemnly gives her a letter from her grandmother. "Read it immediately," he advises before departing. Stepping inside, they are awestruck. The house is grand, adorned with exquisite antiques. As they explore, Daryl volunteers to stay behind and unpack, while the rest head into town for supplies. The moment they leave, Daryl's true nature is revealed. He's a thief. Stuffing valuables into his bag, he prowls the house, trying keys in various doors. The large key piques his curiosity, leading him to a hidden door behind a wall. He steps through into a concealed wine cellar, where he notices something disturbing: a plate of rotting food outside a massive metal door. As he searches for a way to open it, a shadow moves behind him. The door suddenly swings open, revealing Leatherface. Before Daryl can react, a hammer crashes into his skull. Leatherface methodically bludgeons him to death, mirroring the infamous Kirk kill from the original film. Meanwhile, in town, Heather meets Deputy Carl Hartman, who is immediately drawn to her. Unbeknownst to her, Mayor Bert Hartman listens in as she discusses her family. Sensing danger, she lies, denying any connection to the Sawyers, before hastily leaving with her friends. Returning to the estate, they find their belongings ransacked. Assuming Daryl robbed them and fled, they shrug it off, unwinding with drinks. As night falls, Kenny, a chef in training, begins preparing steaks while Ryan plays pool and Nikki lingers outside, watching him through the window. Nikki bursts into the study where Ryan is lining up a shot on the pool table. Her face is pale, her breathing ragged. "Ryan, you need to see this. Now." Her urgency sends a chill down his spine. He drops the cue and follows her outside, across the backyard to the old barn. The air is thick with tension. Nikki stops and points to a metal bucket on the ground. "Under there," she whispers. Ryan hesitates, then slowly lifts the bucket. His brow furrows. Inside, a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. Confused, he turns to Nikki, only to find her standing there, half naked, a wicked smirk on her lips. "Told you it was crazy," she teases, winking. The fear in his chest is replaced with something else entirely as they move toward each other. Upstairs, Heather explores, until she stumbles upon something horrific. In a dimly lit room, her grandmother's corpse sits in a chair, decayed and lifeless. Panicked, she runs downstairs, only to freeze in terror. In the kitchen, Leatherface stands over a severed hand, slicing its fingers into a bowl. Her scream catches his attention. Before she can react, he grabs her, hurling her against the floor. Darkness swallows her as she loses consciousness. Heather wakes in the cellar, watching in horror as Leatherface hacks Daryl's corpse into pieces. Kenny, still alive, is dragged in and hoisted onto a meat hook. Leatherface fires up his saw and slices Kenny in half as Heather scrambles to escape. Bolting up the stairs, she bursts through the front door, sprinting into the Sawyer family graveyard. She spots an open grave and dives into the coffin. Leatherface looms above, revving his chainsaw before plunging it into the wood. Nearby, Ryan and Nikki emerge from the barn after hearing the chainsaw's roar. They spot Leatherface hacking at something and call out. When he turns, they freeze. The hulking man barrels toward them, saw screaming. Panicking, they retreat into the barn, barricading the door. Nikki finds a shotgun and fires wildly as Leatherface saws through the wood. "Welcome to Texas, motherfire," she snarls. Suddenly, headlights pierce the darkness. The van crashes through the barn wall. Heather is behind the wheel. Ryan and Nikki dive inside as Leatherface charges. Ryan slams on the gas, aiming for the front gate, but the van crashes to a stop. The automatic gate opens too slowly. Leatherface seizes his moment. With a single powerful swing, his chainsaw slices through the front tire, sending the van flipping through the air. It crashes onto its side, leaving them at Leatherface's mercy. Heather turns, her breath hitching as she sees Ryan, lifeless, a massive shard of windshield glass embedded deep in his neck. She and Nikki let out piercing screams just as Leatherface begins slicing through the van. His brute strength is unstoppable. He grips the vehicle and violently flips it onto its side. Panicked, Heather scrambles through a shattered window. Nikki isn't as lucky. Leatherface's blade grazes her side, drawing blood. Heather yells, diverting his attention.